Hey there, everybody. We are back. That's right. They are back. We are back with my recap and review of All the Queen's Men, Season 4, Episode 1, Hail Mary. And the synopsis for this episode reads, Madam goes on a mad dash to find out where Santiago is holding her father, and Amp tries to apologize to an uninterested Dime, and Doc realizes he's been outplayed by Detective Davis. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, Doc is stupid as they come, and I'm about sick of Dime and her weak self, and I just don't know. But let's jump right in with this recap review. But before we get started, if you are new here or if you are returning here, and you have not subscribed to my channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all, and let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button. I want you to write a comment and join the conversation, and then share the video, because sharing is caring, everybody. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, and let's jump in. So it begins with Madam and Concierge talking on the phone and are basically taking a stand against their situations, and they are discussing where her father is. And he's letting her know that he's not the one holding Cadillac hostage. So she figures if it's not him, then it has to be Santiago. So Concierge wished her luck and then had the nerve to offer his condolences to her. I guess he's letting her know that her father is either dead or will be soon. And then he hung up on Madam, and she was not happy about that. Then we have Big D in the locker room arguing with Amp again about Dime, because as we saw in the last episode, Amp punched him while they were all performing a routine on the eat and dance stage. So of course Big D is always talking mess, and he told them all he's a lover and not a fighter. But if Amp F around with him one more time, he gonna find out. I said, well, what he gonna find out if you're not a fighter? I'm just saying, you just said you're not. Anyway, Dime comes in there and tries to calm them down and lets them know that they're messing up everybody else's money. Then Blue told Amp that he has to come too far in his AA meetings to waste it on Big D. And then as everyone left out the locker room, Big D had the nerve to ask Amp for an apology, and Blue went over to Big D and checked him about that request. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Get the F out of here. But let's be real, y'all. Dime caused all this mess. Dime messing with two men at the club is the cause of all this mess. Dime is the reason why Amp can't get over what happened to him. He could be dead because a Dime didn't know what she was talking about. Yes, she apologized over and over again, but sometimes when you go to sleep at night and think about how the hell you could have just got killed, come on now. Dime, you the problem, girl. You ain't the solution. Stop acting like you all that. Anyhow, now we have Concierge. He's telling Santiago that he's got too much at risk, and that he's got too much business tied up, and it's all in jeopardy because of him. But then Santiago telling Concierge that it's all because of his mistress, Madam, and that they're all going through this. And Concierge reminds him that his marriage to Lotus was just a business arrangement, and that's it, and he knows it. And he told him that since he's already given him what he's needed, he's just going to pull back and step away a little bit. But Santiago told him, no, you ain't. You can't do that in the middle of a war. Then added that he won't be satisfied until Madam's lifeless body is hanging from a bridge in the middle of the city. And I'm like, what city is that? Does anybody know what city that was he wanted her to hang in front of? I'm just asking. I don't know. Anyway, now back over at Eaton, Dime comes out onto the dance stage, somewhat apologizing to the women for what just transpired in the earlier dance routine. And now she's calling the men of Eden back out there onto the stage to try it again and give the females what they paid for. And that makes sense. So the men come back on stage and these soft looking fur coats and stuff, they long. I was like, ooh, those look nice and soft. And it looked like they were blue, but with the lights and everything, maybe the color, who knows what color those coats was. But that could just be the lighting in the club, like I said. And they did their thing with their lovely, muscular, chocolate shades of sexy selves. I tell ya, on it. And so we see that Amp and Big D are still shooting dirty looks at each other on the stage. Now over to the police precinct, where we have Detective Davis last season someone called her Detective Gadget, and I thought that was so funny, y'all. Because I used to watch that show as a child, Detective Gadget, but she doesn't have any gadgets on her. She just a lying little heifer to Doc, acting like she's falling for him. Anyways, we have Detective Davis and DA Ross talking, and Davis tells her that they should have the test results back from the lab that will hopefully match Doc's DNA from his shirt to Tina's blood. Why does stupid Doc still have that damn shirt around, y'all? Somebody tell me, how stupid is he? He should have burned that, washed it, or thrown it away a long time ago. Wasn't Tina killed at least a month ago or so? Come on, somebody tell me. Please put it down in the comment section if you know. Anyway, so we now learn that Detective Davis has been keeping this little side investigation under wraps, so that nobody knew about it except DA Rod. So she thanked her for not telling anyone, because if anyone knew about her undercover, no pun intended, because it was literally undercover, y'all. Undercover investigation, it would probably have been over before it got started. We also learned that Detective Davis is up for promotion as lead detective if she is able to bring Madam in for her crimes. I said, see, I tell you, Doc was stupid. Madam told him to stop messing with her, and he didn't listen. Now back at Eden, we have Madam grabbing El Fuego off the dance floor. Well, he was out there dancing around and told him to follow her into her office. She tells him that someone is holding her father hostage, and she needs to find out where exactly they're holding him. Fuego is like, what? I thought he was dead. Didn't we just bury your father last week, And Madam told him to stop with the damn questions. Poor innocent him. He's just so innocent. I had to laugh, but poor little innocent Fuego. He was freaking confused at this moment. But he did as Madam said. So she gave him her cell phone to try to trace the call, but then he told her he couldn't do it this way and that he needed his equipment that's in his locker. She told him to hurry up and get it. And then Blue enters Madam's office and asks what to do with Champ in trouble. But Madam starts telling her about Cadillac and that he's being held hostage. Blue's like, what? Then she tells Blue to take Trouble from a safe house and bring her down to the basement at Eden. Madam then asks where Tommy was, and the next thing you know, we see a scene with Tommy's out in some woods or graveyard or some place, digging a hole to put a dead body in of a man who owed Madam money, I believe it was. And while he's digging, another man walks up dragging a black bag with a body in it. And the guy walking over to Tommy is named Smoke. And they actually know each other. I said, Lord, this is funny. I think they said that Smoke had escaped from a mental home or something like that. And he said his boss was in the bag and that he was still alive. He got mad at him for taking him off the work schedule because he had shown up to work late too many times. I said, this why you gonna kill your boss, because he took you off the schedule? So now he want his boss to suffer like he was. But then out of nowhere, Smoke decides to kick his boss for moaning inside the bag, telling him to shut the F up, and then he shot him dead. So it seems that Smoke and Tommy, they seem to go way back, and know each other well, because then he told Tommy that his schedule just opened up and he needs work. So Tommy said that he'll ask Madam if she has an opening at Club Eden. So Smoke tosses his boss's body into the hole, and then Tommy tosses the dead body he had into the hole as well. And Smoke grabs the shovel because he didn't have one of his own, and he starts throwing the dirt on top of the two bodies to bury it for him. Since Tommy dug it up, I guess he could throw the dirt on it. Now we have Miss Tandy outside in the parking lot of Club Eden waiting for Babyface, and she tells him that she needs a favor. He thought she was there to get her some stuff touched up or something, but she said I could wait till till you get home for that. But then she told him that she needed a gun tonight, but did not tell him why. She told him that it cannot be traced. So Babyface said he's not making any promises, but we'll see what he can do. So he goes into Eden and later asks Midnight for a gun, but did not tell him who it was for. Midnight teases him and calls him killer because of what happened to Miss Patty. I remember Miss Patty 2 seasons ago. He knocked her over the terrace. Anyway, he then opened up a bag full of guns and other stuff and told him to pick what he wants. And Midnight told him that if he planned on doing something stupid, then make sure that he wipes the gun off real good. So now back at Madam's office, we have Fuego still trying to pinpoint where the call came from that was made to Madam's, but about her father. He tells her that the signal keeps bouncing around because they have scrambled the signal somehow, and that it could take him a few days to pinpoint the location. While he's working on that, Tommy comes in and lets Madam know that he took care of the problem that she asked of him to handle. Then he told her that he saw smoke, and she was surprised. And he told her that he was looking for work and that smoke would be instrumental in doing something diabolical to Santiago. And I said, uh-oh. Then we see concierge talking to someone, but we don't know who. And he's telling them that it's time to cut ties with Santiago and that he wants Madam to handle his lightweight to keep his hands clean, and said that he can kill two birds with one stone. I said, oh, okay. So now, while Madam is in her office getting impatient with Fuego, she gets a call from Cadillac, but of course it's really Santiago who has the phone. Madam tries to convince him to take her life instead of her father, since it's her that he really wants. But he assured her that her father will die in agony, calling her name. And after he said that, Santiago proceeded to cutting his eye out. And I am talking about Cadillac, his eyeball, while Madam is on FaceTime with him watching it all go down. So she is really pissed off right now. And she threatens to kill him. She's like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, man, she was so upset. So now we have Big D turning in his tips for the night. And for once, this fool did not try to hit on Dime and just left. I was like, what? And then we had Midnight trying to convince Doc to get into some coochie with him tonight. But Doc went home instead. Amp comes down to, turn in his tips, and he tells Dime that part of his recovery is to make amends. So he apologizes to her once again for his behavior, for all the things he has done to hurt her in the past, and for his recent behavior in the locker room. And Dime is still acting uninterested and playing hard to get. She really doesn't want to accept his apology, but she does. He starts telling her that he still cares for her, yada, 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 and she just took his money and kept it moving. I said, well, what can we say? Amp, you brought it on yourself too. Both of y'all are responsible for your relationship messing up. Both Dime and Amp. They did stuff on both ends. Anyway, now DA Roz got back the results from the lab, or was it Detective Davis? Anyway, and it confirms that the blood on Doc's shirt was actually Tina's, which gives her enough evidence to indict Madam. But I really do not understand this. How is it indicting Madam? It wasn't on Madam's t-shirt. It wasn't in Madam's house. He just worked for Madam. How people gonna get indicted because their employee did some mess? You know what I mean? That it just makes no sense to me. But if it makes sense to somebody, put it down in the comment section, because I don't understand. Anyways, Detective Davis wants to go out and have some drinks with her boss, D.A. Rods, to celebrate, but D.A. Rods wants to lay low. She ain't trying to celebrate too early. But Detective Davis feels that Madam is the big fish and that she has to go and celebrate. So now Doc gets home after working at Eden, and now for some reason he decides he wants to do his laundry. Now he notices that the shirt that he had on the night that he killed Tina was missing. It was on the bottom of the hamper. Somebody please tell me why. Why, baby? Why? Why does he still have that shirt? That's all I keep saying. So he calls Detective Davis, but she doesn't answer. Now we're back over to Madam in her office trying to figure out where they have her father. So she calls concierge, but he said even if he knew where he was, he wouldn't tell her because she killed his wife and brother. And Madam said, you didn't even care about that biatch anyway. And he said to her that it wasn't your call to make. So he feels like Madam owes him at this point, and he doesn't really have anything more to say to her until she's ready to repay her debt for killing his loved ones. So Fuego computer hacking tracking skills finally paid off, and he picked up a signal that from that call that she just had from concierge, and was actually found out he was actually calling from Mexico. So Madam decided they were going to get the jet, the plane, whatever it is, and go to Mexico to pay these folks a visit. Meanwhile, back with Babyface, he made it home to Tandy, and he gave her the gun that he got from Midnight. He assured Tandy that it was clean and untraceable. Babyface wanted to know what she was going to do with the gun, but then decided on second thought, I don't want to know. And he told her, never mind, because the less he knew, the better. And this made Tandy happy. And because she was so happy, she got down on her knees and decided to thank Babyface by going downtown and taking his member in her mouth. I said, oh, okay, lucky him. Now we see trouble. And she's trying to escape wherever she is in the basement. She sees that guillotine and gets nervous and starts yelling for help. That's what she get. Always trying to be tough. Then we cut over to midnight with his female customer, and they having a funky good time when he gets interrupted by a phone call from Doc, who is telling him that Detective Davis took the shirt that had Tina's blood on it. Midnight told him that if he can't find that shirt, he's going to have to tell Madam at some point, and Doc agreed. And Midnight told Doc to sleep on it and check again in the morning. Now we see Dime, and she runs into Big D at his little late night diner or eatery, and he was sitting eating, and she was taking her food to go. But of course, Big D wanted her to join him, so he laid on some of his southern charm, which seems to always work on Dime every time, you know. And he asked her to join him, and of course she did. So they ate and chatted together. And I thought, I don't know what episode it was or season, but I thought she didn't want to have anything to do with him after, what was that, seeing that dead body in his trunk or something? Anyway, next we move over to the concierge in Mexico, and we see him being a tough guy in some warehouse with one of his employees. I'm presuming named Miguel. I'm presuming it's an employee because he was telling Miguel, you didn't deliver the product on time. And he told Miguel how disappointed he was in him. And then he shot him. But before he finished the job, Madam walked in and shot the other guy who was standing by watching this all go down. She told concierge that if he didn't tell her where her father was, that she was going to take care of him next. So I guess he does. But before we find out, it switches over to Doc, who finally gets in touch with Detective Davis, and he wants her to return his shirt. And she reminded him that he left his bloody shirt laying around when he knows that she's a cop. She told him that it's not him that she wants, nor does she want to arrest him. She said that she has bigger fish to fry, and I'm figuring that she means Madam, and that it's not his time yet, which means she may at some time come after him at a later date. He's so dumb. He should have listened to Madam when she told him to stop messing with her, but he didn't listen. Even Midnight tried to get him to stop, but he didn't listen. Meanwhile, D.A. Rods is on the phone outside trying to figure out which judge is going to be handling Madam, because she said that they can't have her going before some weak judge. And you got that right. Then suddenly shots ring out, bullets are flying everywhere, and the DA starts ducking to save her life. All of a sudden, who do we see driving a car wearing dark shades and a headscarf? And some gloves, but Miss Tandy. And it looks like she is laughing like a crazy woman after shooting at her girl D.A. Rods. And lastly, we have a scene with Madam Blue and Tommy having a shootout with some of Santiago's men, it seems. They are outside of a warehouse where she thinks her father is being held. So I guess y'all concierge must have given her this location. Now Madam wants to rush in hot, but Blue doesn't think that it's a wise thing to do for them to go in there alone because they are outnumbered. But Madam doesn't care. She wants to go in hot, and that's just what they did. So they rush inside with guns blazing, and they are taking out any and everybody who tried to get in their way. I said, I hear y'all. Then they ran into this one last guy who was so scared that he peed on himself. And she asked him a question, but he didn't speak any English. But of course, her boy Tommy, Mr. Jack of all trades, was able to translate what the man was saying. So the man said he did not know where Cadillac was, and Blue figured that they just may be holding him there somewhere in that warehouse, because the guy kept looking to his right when Madam was asking him the question, which was their left. So Madam told Tommy to snap the man's neck, and they moved on to find Cadillac, and that's just how it ended. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. This was my little recap review. I'm sorry it's late, but y'all know I had this voice problem, and this one took me so long to do anyway because my voice is still a little weak. So please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.